What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's daily market recap. In today's episode, I'm going to break down all of my trades from the morning. I'm sitting here in the green, up nearly $80,000. Yesterday was $60,000. Tuesday was $175,000. What in the world? Okay, we're in a really hot market right now, and I'm excited. I can't wait to show up tomorrow. The only thing I'm bummed out about is that my window for the day has closed. Now I've got a window. It begins at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and it ends pretty hard at about 10 a.m. Now, what's really interesting is that coming into 10 a.m., the stock that I'm typically watching, if it's holding up really well, I'm happy to trade it from 9:30 up to 10 a.m., 10:30, maybe even 11. But what I've been noticing is that right at 9:30 a.m., you know what happens? The spreads get bigger. Volume goes up because now it's regular trading hours. So why, with volume going up, do the spreads get bigger? And the only thing that I can think of is that it's because of the way high-frequency trading algorithms are executing market orders. Because at 9:30 a.m., people start using market orders to buy. And when you use a market order to buy, you can get a lot of slippage. Buying at the ask, selling at the bid. Therefore, the market makers have an incentive to keep the spread bigger so they make more money, more profit across the spread from each one of those market maker or from each one of those market orders. So that's my best guess at what's causing spreads to get bigger in spite of increasing volume, because it doesn't make sense. Now, as we sit here this morning, our leading gainer on the entire day, HBIO, this is a lower price stock, currently up 128%. Not bad at all, but I didn't trade that stock. In fact, that stock I didn't even look at because it didn't even start moving until about 9:30, 10 a.m. We go down to the next leading gapper, STRM. It's up 120%. Why is it going sideways? It's a buyout. It's an acquisition. The value has now been determined. It's not going to go anywhere. So the thing with this is if we pull up the level 2 on it, you would see that it's very thickly traded. So let me pull up the level 2, STRM. So STRM right here, it's going to be pretty thickly traded. It's more or less going sideways. And the reason it's so thickly traded is because you have this catalyst, which is that they've got a definitive merger agreement. So a definitive merger agreement to take the stock private or to merge it at $5.34 per share. Now you might say, why isn't it trading at exactly $5.34? The difference between $5.06 and $5.34 represents the risk perceived by market participants that maybe the deal doesn't go through. If for some reason the deal didn't go through, then anyone who was holding right now at $5.06 waiting to get the payout at $5.34, and let's just say you bought 10,000 shares. You'll get bought out at $5.34 as long as the buyout goes through. But if it doesn't go through, the price is going to drop. So if everyone was 100% sure the buyout was going to go through, it would trade right about $5.30, $5.28, a few cents below the buyout price. So you would make a little money buying at $5.28 or $5.30 and waiting until finally the buyout goes through, but not that much because it's pretty much a sure thing. So the bigger the difference between the price and the current price represents what market participants see as the risk. And so the bigger the difference, the more risk there is, and therefore the more you could make by buying and hoping to hold. But let's remember, if this buyout doesn't go through, what was the price yesterday? Whoa, way down at $2.50. So you've got like 30 cents of upside potential if it goes through, and you've got like $2 a share, $3 a share of downside potential if it doesn't. So although you could hedge your bet with options and some complex stuff, I don't think you actually have an options chain on the stock. For most traders, this is going to be a no-go. All right, so the next one down, ALZN. ALZN I traded, and you know what? I kind of struggled with it. I'm up $17,000. I peaked at about 23, maybe it was 25,000, and I gave back a little bit off the top. So ALZN is one of those stocks that kind of came out of nowhere, all of a sudden starts squeezing up really quickly. And what happened was initially we got this big pop from 3 up to 5 and then a round trip. Then it pops back up, pulls back down. As it comes back up right here, that's where it got interesting. So let me go back to my first trade on ALZN. And I might say ALNZ because I am getting that one a little confused. But let's see. So I'm going to scroll back here. I'm looking for my first trade. Okay, so my first trade on this was at $5.15, and that was at about 8 a.m. So 8 a.m. it pops up right here, and I jump in at 5:15. It goes up to a high of 550. It drops back down. I had a small trade right in there, but it reverses. It doesn't hold. So I'm in about 5:15, took a little profit. It drops back down. Then as it comes back up at 8:10, I tried to get in right there. I tried to buy 20,000 shares right there at 8:10 in the morning, which was at about $5.55. I filled nothing. I put out my buy order, but it's not a market order, right? I said what I was willing to pay, and the market jumped up in front of me, and I didn't get filled any shares on my order. Bummer, because that could have been $10,000 of profit right there. I missed it, but then I bought down here, and it pops up a little bit, and then I didn't take a trade down here because I thought it was rolling over, and then it rips back up. So I got in right here, and then it stalls out, goes sideways. It pops up again. I missed that because I wasn't expecting it. Then I try to get in down here. It pops up a teeny bit, then it rolls over. Then I missed this huge squeeze here because it doesn't make sense because it pulled back too much. I try to get in down here. It doesn't really work. Try to trade up here. It doesn't really work. You know, I just couldn't get in the zone on it. We kept getting these pops and reversals, pops and reversals. And I don't know what the deal was, but it was really tricky. It was throwing me off. Not for any real good reason. I don't know why it was trading this way, but it was difficult. MACD crossed over here. We had a negative MACD. I traded even with the MACD being negative a few times. That didn't work. Shouldn't be surprised. But yeah, this was just a really odd stock. So $17,000 is great. I really can't complain, but I just felt like, I don't know, it had a lot of potential. It went up over 200%. And I didn't make all that much considering how big that move was. So that was ALZN. But that wasn't my first trade of the day. My first trade of the day was actually ZEO. ZEO hits the scanners just after 7 a.m. And you can see this nice pop-up right here. So we get a squeeze up, a pullback, a pop higher, a pullback, pop higher, pullback. And right here at 7 a.m., we pop up, we drop down, and then we curl right there. And that was the curl that I traded. So on ZEO, I made about $6,900. Not a home run by any means, but I broke the ice, I got in, I got green, and I was grateful for that. First trade was right around 350. So we'll pull up the 10-second chart here, back this up. So this is going to be, let's see, we had a little trade, would have been right down, I think it was right down in this area here. So we got a nice little breakout there up to 390, was hoping it would go a little higher, but nonetheless, got green, was grateful for that, and got out. Next trade was VCIG. VCIG was the best trade of the day for me. This hits the scanner, 7:33 breaking news. It hits the scanner, and as soon as it pops up, I'm looking at it a little cautiously because it's a quick move on lighter volume, and I'm saying, all right, let's see what this can do. So it pops up right here to a high of 335. And let me just pull up my orders. So then it pops up here to a high of 390. This is where I saw it, and that was where I took my first micro pullback entry. I'll have a link to the micro pullback class at the end of today's episode because you guys have to watch it. This is the setup that I'm trading every day. So micro pullback there, boom, 380 up to 480, $1 a share. Pulls back, another micro pullback. I add to it there, we get a squeeze up to 5. Another micro pullback, I add to it there, we get a squeeze up to 6. Another micro pullback, I add to it there, it tops at 620, there's a big seller on the ask, comes down, I end up getting out, dips down, pops up a little bit, dips down, pops up a little bit, tried to time the break back over 6, wasn't able to do it there, ends up pulling back a little bit more, and then that was that. But you know what? It was worth a stab. It was worth being aggressive on because it was moving quickly. And at that moment, it was our leading percentage gainer in the entire market. It was the most obvious stock. Right now, it's got about 20 million shares of volume. And the only thing that's a bummer is that it kind of rolled over here. But I think it rolled over in part because all of a sudden ALZN pops up and attention shifted to this stock. And so we're in a little bit of a musical chairs kind of market where attention is shifting from stock to whatever is currently moving quickly. So traders are very quick to give up on a stock if it's not holding up. So that's something to be aware of. Now, SBET, this one was on my watch list for first daily candle to make a new high. It worked. I didn't trade it. I felt that it was too expensive for most small account traders, and the volume was too light for big money traders. So even if, I'm kind of small account mentality with a large account because I have the mentality of just taking quick base hits. And for me, this spread was just too big. I couldn't manage my risk. So SBET right now, we can see what the spread is. It's a 50-cent, oops, let me move this up here like this. This is messed up. So it's a 50-cent spread right here. 41, well, it's jumping around though. And the problem is I wouldn't be able to manage my risk on this with large size, and with small size, it just doesn't even feel worth it. So that one, unfortunately, priced a lot of people out, and today has only 3 million shares of volume, whereas 2 days ago, it had over 50 million shares. So there's just less people trading it right now, and that makes the spreads even bigger. WETO, this one popped up. Chinese company, we got a squeeze up here. I bought it. I was a little hesitant on it, but I did get a trade on this, although you can see I didn't actually make any money on it, really. My first trade on it was right here, and I lost $3,000. I got back in as it curled back up and made back what I lost. So down, or up 264 on it in total. But sitting at $79,000 right now on the day, and I just basically came to a point where we ran out of time. WETO was at like 925. There just wasn't anything else to trade, unfortunately. ALNZ, I was hoping we would get more action, but it started selling off at the open. So I think my next best chance at having a nice trade is going to be, well, tomorrow morning. I think tomorrow is going to be my next best chance. So I'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for all of our members here at Warrior Trading. Those of you guys who haven't already done a trial, I'll put a link for a 2-week trial in the description of today's episode. It's 2 weeks for $20. What does that $20 get you? It gets you my live audio video broadcast for 2 weeks, but it gets you a lot more than that. You get real-time market data on this software right here. Charts, scanners, newsfeed, our chat room. So you get access to all of that. Plus, you'll get access to a selection of classes from the Warrior Pro curriculum, because I want to make sure you're going through those classes and I'm teaching you about risk management and how to take it slow before you go and jump into the chat room. As always, I want to remind you, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so please practice in a simulator before putting real money on the line. And if you want to check out that micro pullback strategy episode, I'll put the link to it right here and another link to a full-length training right there. So check those out. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you back at it bright and early tomorrow morning.